Inspiring messages.
Months into the pregnancy, I had just felt this lump in the right.
Making a difference.
Say Anne-Marie, when the right season comes.
It's life, health, family, marriage, divorce, and so much more.
Today is separation in marriage. On set is my dear friend Gemma.
Heart of a Woman, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. right here on TIN.
Victim of satanic attack since we had a very good life.
Heart of a Woman.
Hi, welcome once again to Heart of a Woman. I am Shorn DesVignes-Daniel. If it's the first time you're viewing this program, I'm your host for this program. And we are always happy to be here, bringing you topics, bringing stuff that you've told me that you want to talk about, you want us to talk about. And I before we start the program, I just want to thank our sponsor for this season, Mrs. Althea Chance of Glorious Academy Salon and Spa. Thank you so much for sponsoring this program. It's always a pleasure having businesses from Tobago especially come on board and sponsor. We're still looking for sponsors. So if you're out there and you're interested in sponsoring this program, you can contact TIN and let them know that you are interested in sponsoring the program. So Heart of a Woman, today we're talking about a phase of life. And in this phase of life, it affects women, and who better than this woman? I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. She's a district nurse for over 30 years. She's a midwife and a district health visitor, and no other than Miss Maureen George. Maureen, welcome to Heart of a Woman again.
Thank you, Sean.
Yes.
Thanks for having me on the program.
Yes, and it's not your first time with us, yeah? But you're here in a different capacity, yeah? So Maureen, we're talking about menopause, and as a district nurse, a nurse for over 30 years, I'm sure you've met people who've been going through that, and as a woman yourself, if you don't mind, you're at that stage in your life, yeah? So let's talk a little bit though about exactly what menopause is, yeah? What is menopause? A little definition of what menopause is.
Well, to put it simply, menopause is that time of a woman's life when she ceases to have her menstruation and she is unable to have any more children.
Right, yeah. Right, and we know that when women talk about menopause, Maureen, they talk about it in such a way that if you're not going through menopause, it's oh my God, when that time comes, I am so scared I am going through menopause right now. And as I was saying before we started the program, oh my God, I'm hot and miserable. I'm wearing air conditioner, and it truly makes you miserable. That is how I feel. But Maureen, before we go further, what grieves me though? That women talk about menopause in such a hush, as if they're ashamed. What's your take on that?
Yes, some people are embarrassed, but we must remember that the term menopause and perimenopause and postmenopause,
and those are the stages.
They are relatively new terms, coined maybe 19 to 20 years ago, and that's relatively new.
Right.
Our grandparents and great-grandparents didn't discuss menopause. The symptoms were like a mystery to them. They didn't even understand what was going on.
Yes.
So we're still living in that era where people feel embarrassed about things that they're not sure of and things they don't know. So I could well understand why sometimes some women feel embarrassed about discussing menopause.
Yeah, but it's amazing that we have there's so much information out there. But I think our culture, we don't really talk about it, I remember asking my grandmother when she was alive, ask her, so are you going through menopause? Did you go through menopause? And she's like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. And that's amazing that people in that that era, they had no idea what was happening, you know. So I don't know, I think now that we have internet and all that, you think people don't really go and do some research?
I don't think so. For some people, the symptoms appear as though they're a mystery. And I was telling a friend of mine, pardon what I'm going to say, if I was not aware of what menopause really is, if I didn't do a lot of reading and I wasn't informed,
Yes.
I would think that somebody worked OB on me.
Right.
Yeah, some of the
Yeah.
symptoms are so, you know, unreal, if you want to
Unreal.
call
Yes.
it like that.
Yeah.
But it's important that we become aware of them, that we do a lot of reading, and the things we don't understand, we ask our doctor.
Exactly.
Or talk about
Talk
it.
to each
Yes, talk to
other.
each other about
Yes,
it.
yeah.
I was asking a good friend of mine today if she would like to come and share with us, and she said, no, that's too personal.
Wow.
Or she would be embarrassed.
Wow.
Or why should I tell people my business?
Yes.
But a lot of women go through these stages. You're not alone. So it's not like it's your business. We need to talk about it. The signs and symptoms are long and winding.
Yes.
And your symptom may not be mine.
Exactly.
So everybody goes through the menopausal stages at
differently.
an individual level.
Yes,
Yeah. So it's
yeah.
important that we talk about it so we could discuss, you know, the real issues.
Right. So as we're talking about, what are some of these symptoms?
Some of the very common ones.
Yeah, the common symptoms.
Insomnia, fatigue.
Oh yes.
Yes, fatigue, which I suffer from a lot.
Yeah.
Irritability,
Oh yeah.
that's another one. Bloating. Yeah, we like to say it's midlife crisis. We
Crisis.
use that term, yeah.
Or the
Or middle-aged fat.
The middle-aged fat.
yes.
Yeah.
And those are just a few. Some people suffer palpitations, yes, and stress. Yeah, you become more stressed during the menopausal period.
Yeah.
Just to name a few, Sean, you have
Yes.
things like allergies, which some people get a lot. Psoriasis, that's a skin condition. Back pains, a lot of people
Back
complain.
pains,
Yes, that's
oh.
one of the things you go to.
What about
in your
aches? You know, I know a lot of joint pains.
joint pains.
Yes.
I was reading where sometimes when you have an old injury, it comes back to remind you
Right.
around the age, the stages, of
menopause.
menopause. Yes.
You know, I realize, and because I am going through this, I went back in my mind. So when did I start to feel weird? You know, I shared that with my daughter. She said, that's your whole life. But I was trying to go back in my mind when I was, and I think maybe when I had my last child, which would have been in my late 30s, I think after having her, I went through a serious bout of depression, you know, and not knowing that was the first stage. A friend saw me today and she was saying, girl, I feel so, and she's now going through that. But you know, she's very young, and I nothing is wrong with feeling young, because I am very young. You're very young as well.
I quite agree with you that you are young.
You
Sean.
are young as well. But I think in our minds we can't transition in our mind that change is happening.
That's just what it is. It's a transition. And women should embrace it as that.
Yes.
And not try to be enemies with it.
Exactly.
Or cover it and put it under a bushel.
Yes, I agree.
It's part of becoming a woman. It's part of transition.
Yes.
And we must embrace it.
Yes.
There is life with menopause and after menopause.
But a lot of women believe that we have no life after menopause. No, we had a long conversation. We have some major plans for menopause.
That's right.
And I am thinking, I want to take this menopause stage, Maureen, and I know you agree with me. I want to look at it in a different way. I refuse for menopause or the symptoms or whatever to beat me up.
That's right. You can't allow that at all.
You can't allow that,
yes.
you know.
And one of the ways we could do that is approaching the menopause stages in a holistic way.
Exactly.
Yes.
I do agree.
And you treat the symptoms as they come along. And it is advised that we should exercise a lot.
Yes.
Pay much attention to your spirituality.
Yes.
And eat well, eat a well-balanced diet. And don't stay inside. the fatigue could cripple you that way.
Yes.
You don't want to go anywhere.
I know.
You prefer to stay home and relax. But that is not advised. You should
is not.
talk to your girlfriends, go out, try to be happy, get rid of the stressors, whatever they may be,
People,
whether it be a person or a thing
yes.
or the house.
Yes.
Get rid of all the stressors
Yes.
because at our age we don't need those things.
No,
we need to be
don't.
comfortable, happy, and empowering other women.
Exactly. And I'm talking about what works for me. Because honestly, Maureen, I am not ashamed or afraid to say, yes, I am going through this. And I just want to share with other women and to encourage them that, listen, this is not the end of your life. What I found work for me mightn't work for other people. I find at this stage in my life, I'm at this stage in my life where whatever. As long as I'm pleasing God and I'm pleasing my husband, family, I want to do stuff that make me happy. You know, and I think that is something. Learn something new.
That's right.
You know, a new skill.
Learn a new language.
A new language.
That's right.
Do things for you. I think that this is the stage in your life where you need to fix you.
Yes, I quite agree with you, Shorn. And that's a privilege that's denied to many, and we should be very grateful that we have this privilege.
Exactly.
Having said that, though, some people go through what we call the premenopausal stages from as early as 30 years.
30 years. Yes.
So the transition could be that long, but like I said, it's different for individuals.
Yes.
I remember when I had my first symptom. As a young girl, I never had pains when I was having my periods. And I remember one day I had such a sharp pain that I had to cry out loudly. My mother was still alive. And when she asked me what was wrong, and I told her I was having my period and I have such pain like I never had before. And I went to the doctor at 30, maybe 35 years old. And she told me I was having premenopausal symptoms.
Oh,
and I hated that woman.
You
I want to know what on earth is she talking about.
I know.
So the symptoms persisted from then.
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't tell you my age now.
Why not, Maureen? You're fabulous. That is part of the journey. I want women to start saying, I am 50, I am
50-something
50.
years old.
What is the something? It doesn't matter what the something.
Right.
It is a blessing to say what the something is. I do believe that. So part of our menopausal journey, I think, is to embrace the age.
I think so, yes.
And that's just
jokingly,
a number.
yes. That's true. That's true.
Just a number. That's just a number.
It is.
But
it depends on what you do with your life, regardless of
Exactly.
what age you are. I quite agree with you.
I do agree when you said that, when your doctor told me that. When my doctor told me that she's a man, I'm like, seriously, I quarrel.
Yeah, at
for
35,
weeks.
you don't want to hear that because
I
you think,
he's a man, he has no idea. You
Yes,
know, and I was
yes.
just like so upset with this
And
man.
this was a female doctor who
Your
told me
doctor's
that,
a female,
right?
My doctor is
Yes.
a man, you know, and I was like, everything is menopause to them. Look at me, you know, and in my mind, I can't be, that's an old woman thing.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's
Well, you
an
could-
old
yes.
woman thing, and I think a lot of women feel that way.
And we only say menopause when your periods have ceased for an entire year. I've had the experience where I thought I was well on my way with 9 months.
Yes.
And at the end of 9 months,
Bam.
I had a period again,
Yes,
you know.
yeah.
I don't know if to call it fortunate or unfortunate, but that just told me that I am not at menopause yet.
Exactly.
So I still have to wait a bit.
Yeah.
But regardless of the symptoms, like we said before, I'm not going to let that keep me from doing what I have to do, you know.
No, not
and
at
to
all.
encourage others to embrace it.
Encourage others to embrace it and take a different look at menopause, and that's what we want to do on this program.
That's right. That's
take a
right.
different look at menopause and help our sisters out there to take that look and change their thinking, change their mindset. And we want to talk to our men too, because there are a lot of problems. So Maureen, we're taking a quick break and we will be right back.
Heart of a Woman.